What is the Community Spouse Resource Allowance, or CSRA? This is a very important term in the world of Medicaid and Medicaid planning. If you are in Florida and you are interested in applying for a program that will help pay for care at home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home, and you are married, so we have a married couple, and we have a situation where one spouse is healthy, one spouse needs Medicaid, needs care at home or in a facility. That's when we get to take advantage of the CSRA, the Community Spouse Resource Allowance. Now, this is a number that changes every year. So right now I'm talking about 2025's number. This number will change in 2026 and years after. It always seems to go up by a little bit. So right now the Community Spouse Resource Allowance is $157,920. $157,920. So what does that mean? Well, you may have heard that in the world of Medicaid planning, gifting is prohibited, and that is generally true. You cannot gift outside of the marital units. You can't say, hey, I've got 200 grand, I can only have 2,000, so I'm going to give $198,000 to my kids. That would result in a significant penalty where you would not be eligible for Medicaid if it's done within 5 years, okay? That's what the look back period refers to. However, gifting between spouses is perfectly fine. So if a couple comes to me and they have $150,000, not including their house, because you may recall there are certain assets that are not counted or are exempt, like your homestead generally is not counted as an asset. IRAs, if they're paying out, are generally not counted as an asset, but almost everything else is counted. And I have other videos that get more to detail about countable versus non-countable assets. But the Medicaid recipient or applicant is only allowed to have $2,000 in what Medicaid considers to be a countable asset, whereas the healthier spouse, we call the community spouse, who is entitled to the Community Spouse Resource Allowance, or CSRA, that healthier community spouse is allowed to have up to $157,920 as of 2025. So if a couple comes to me with, I'm going to use, you'll see a not so random number, $159,920. Obviously, that's just $157,920 plus $2,000. Then we don't need to do anything to protect their assets, because what we can do is just shift the countable resources, all but $2,000, to the healthier community spouse and have our Medicaid applicant retain only $2,000. It's in 1 day every month at a bill at $2,000, and we are already eligible. We don't have to get into my fancier, more complicated Medicaid planning tools. Now, if between the married couple we have significant assets like $500,000 or more in countable assets, then we're using the CSRA, the CSRA, as a way to chip away at what we need to protect. So first step is going to be, we put the first $157,920 into our community spouse's name, and then we utilize our other asset protection tools depending on the setting and what's needed to get our client, protect our client within 5 years without implicating the look back period, and get them protecting their joint assets and getting them eligible for Medicaid. Now, interestingly, after we get our client eligible for Medicaid, once they've gotten that approval, the community spouse is no longer limited by the CSRA, the Community Spouse Resource Allowance, the CSRA. In other words, their money can then grow, because as we do renewals for our clients, Medicaid in Florida no longer looks at the community spouse's assets. So if they want to invest their money, let it grow, that's all perfectly fine. And we use that to our advantage as well, because we have some interesting strategies that take advantage of that fact as well. So anyway, this is a very important concept, the CSRA, Community Spouse Resource Allowance. Hopefully it's now a lot clearer in your mind, and there's certainly lots of other interesting things to talk about. If you're interested in learning more about Medicaid planning, please subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos. If you're ready to talk about it, how we can protect your assets or your loved one's assets, and you're anywhere in the state of Florida, please schedule a consultation. Thank you for watching.